Hi guys, can you hear me? Hello? Wait, can you guys hear me now? Okay, that's pretty cool. How are you guys doing today? Good to hear, good to hear. Well, we're gonna talk about why traders be losing money on their prop firm accounts today in the stream. But before that, we're gonna just go over the current market updates, a quick market update. Nice here, I'm doing good as well. Just not the best because I've been stuck with some IRL problems, but that's all right. But trading doesn't really care, and markets don't care, so I have to like drop some things and move back to trading. And going to the current market update, let me just like give you an overview of what's like going on in the market at the moment. Basically, this is just like the weekend chop that we had starting from like exactly from like Friday. Then we went on to like Saturday, and then it was like New York session around somewhere here where we went to like give a quite a volatile move, which I have like explained multiple times on like my Twitter, my Discord as well, where usually if price starts to like chop around like Saturday Asia session, which if you can see here on the dates below here, so Saturday's Asia session starts here and it like ends around here somewhere. And if this is the price action that you get, barely any movement, and price opens and closes around the same pivotal level, it's likely you're gonna experience a chop till the point of like Sunday New York session, and that's where you're gonna get a volatile move, a breakout. Usually that sort of move like ends up as a pretty much like a scam pump or scam dump, which gets retraced. But so far here, it didn't really have that sort of reaction to price, and there's a reason to that as well. I posted this on my Twitter just like yesterday or 2 days ago, where I was like, this is like some alpha on understanding like viable support. Viable means like support that's like gonna work, and it's related to the current environment that we'll be trading in. Most people didn't really understand the post, and what I was really talking about was this like current structure. And if you look at this specific structure right here, and what I was trying to explain in my post right there, if you look at the structure, it looks something like the structure I explained on my post right there. And if you look at this specific structure and you look at this specific structure, it's pretty much the same as this specific post, and we were likely going to bounce from that viable support. And why is this like support? Why does this like support matter so much around here? And if I like zoom out just a bit more, I could like try to explain a bit. It's just like we're gonna like mark out every single level on the chart in a second as well, and how like the market is going to behave in a few minutes. The reason why this support was like of so much importance is because this stood at both like a POC, like a point of control. There's quite a lot of volume right here, because this is the pivotal level from which this entire range that starts from like May 11th till, and it ends like May, June. I think it continues on till July. So that's like 2.5 months of like proper range structure that like went on around here. And this is the breakthrough that happened in that 2.5 months of price action, which demands that, which states that there's a lot of volume that was like executed around this level right here, which is pretty important for us, because most likely what happens psychologically and volumetrically is that there's a lot of volume that's like around these levels of breakout. So either of, if one of these levels like either flips, it's likely that they're going to rotate all the way down to some lower support, because there's quite a lot of liquidity sitting around those levels. And that liquidity, let's say you buy a long here, and the price comes back around here, and you did not TP anywhere above. You're like, okay, I have to get out of this long. I think it's going down. So what you do is like you sell that long, you give it back to the market, you sell that position, and then like eventually ends up in another sell in the market. And this series of sells of like buys closing ends up in a liquidation cascade of sells, which like moves the price much further down than the actual seller is trying to move the price down, right? Which is like a very important aspect of understanding like breakthroughs and acceptance back into value, back into like levels, right? That is why this level is so important. And there's we could just like mark these as higher lows. I think I'll just like mark all of these as like higher lows, just higher lows into price, and then next higher low comes around here. Since this specific level was where the breakthrough came in this entire range structure, is where my bets were. And I think I'm pretty sure I was like pretty bullish around here. I posted a long, I took a long around here all the way up to like around here. Yeah, I had a long around here, which I held for like, I think week, 2 weeks. And then eventually I closed it out all the way here because I did not have an expectancy of like price reclaiming here. And I also had like a higher time frame short, which I am just going to talk about my positions in a minute as well. So basically that's really what happened here. And knowing that this concept right here, that the later the price, the sooner the reaction, is something that I use here. So basically there's like this specific structure right here. This is the latest support that we can get, because if this support was like likely to break, then that would demand like, that would say that there's a lot of like higher lows sitting around here, quite a lot of liquidity for buys sitting around here. And if they like sell their buys at around break even, that's gonna cause a liquidation cascade, which is what I have like marked here. These red dots that I like mark here are supposed to be like entry triggers. Whenever you see that sort of reaction, slow grind, or momentum kick in that specific direction around those levels, you're supposed to like take a trade around those levels, right? So basically we just like broke into the value area high right here. We would like break into this level right here, and we would then like get a sort of a momentum that would look something like this in price. Just continuous like on the lower time frame, it's very easy to recognize. Just continuous like low breaks, and then you get eventually get a trigger on some higher low like this here, and then you have a trade that rotates all the way back to lower liquidity, right? That's why this was the only support around this entire level right here. Otherwise, if we were to break down this level, it was likely going to go way lower. I don't think it would have stopped here as well. It's likely that it would have run all the way back much lower, because higher time frame wise, I'm a bit bearish. I have a higher time frame short from around like 116k, which I'm pretty sure I posted in my Twitter as well. Like I updated. Yeah, this is the short that I had like posted, I think August 29th. So like a month later I posted about this. Like this is the short that I took with my friends in SHINIGAMI, and this is the update on the specific short. And if you can see here, this is the support that I marked in the higher time frame as well, because this is the only like, yeah. And if you see it without like a volume profile perspective, you're not really gonna understand shit, because you're looking at just a bunch of like irregular PA right here. But if you mark it out properly with like volumetric tools, you're gonna understand why this level was so important for me and everybody else, right? That's if you just look at this plain chart, you're never gonna get why did we bounce from here? Why did we like create a higher low here? And this is what we are actually doing. And if you see, like we are pretty much like bouncing up that low support right here. We're filling up that FVG that's currently made. And if we reject around here, price is gonna be cooked, and we're gonna be down around like 101k. And that's what we are doing so far. What I usually look for when I'm trying to trade continuation, and this is sort of continuation. You have to understand that this is like bearish continuation in a very hard time frame uptrend. What's that supposed to mean is that on the hard time frame, on the 4-hour, the daily, you are basically just like trending up. And on the lower time frame, like hourly or 30 minutes, you're pretty much trending down, which if you can look at this price level right here, you are basically just like trending down around price here. And any sort of rejection, because we know that this level right here is sort of an SFP, and I've seen tops like this occur all the time. We get a break structure, we get a lower high, we do not get any sort of acceptance back into like value area. And I've explained like value area and the importance of these levels all over my streams before. I'll probably explain a bit on this as well. So basically, like price only like moves in two phases. It's either ranging, it's either going up, and that's like a range environment, that's like a trendy environment. And whenever price is like trending, it's imbalanced, and whenever price is ranging, it's balanced. So what price is basically looking for most of the time is balance. So it either creates balance, and when it breaks into imbalance, it's looking for prior balance, so that like ends up as like a proper balance structure. So it's just imbalance to balance, and then balance to imbalance. That's it, right? And knowing the price did not accept, like this here is just trendy moves. Price goes up, rejects, price goes down. If it like does not accept, it's gonna go all the way back up here. And this is the complex part, where we have like two pivotal rejections, where it can reject from either here, it comes back up all the way back up here, then reject off of here, or it like just simply rejects off of here. And this is the importance in understanding like extreme POIs and mid POIs in like a trend, which is like if price is like trending down, I'm gonna try to like imitate this PA right here. And what it looks like to me, it looks something like this. And yeah, price comes back here. So basically there's like two POIs for me right here, which is like we would have like a mid POI, which would support the lower time frame trend, which would like, if given the rejection, if given the trigger to entry, is likely that it enters as a local top and continues the trend all the way down to like 101k, unless and until it like there's you can see like proper trend like slow grind right here, which would like lead to an explanation on that price is going to go and tap the upper POI, which would be viable and understandable by the higher time frame as well, because price is literally just like imbalanced here. It's going to rotate from this side to this side, then it's going to rotate from this side to this side, and if it's like not accepting back here, it's going to rotate from this side to this side. So this is like the market dynamics, right? Unless and until so this would be more natural, that price comes all the way back up to this POI and then reject off of here. But if we get that sort of reaction where price just simply rejects off of here, gives like a continuous like momentumish grindish like structure with breaks of lows, is where you want to just like all in on the short, and then that's gonna work all the way down. And I think in the Discord, it's like Rizal and quite a lot of others like posted a long setup in the Discord, and I think Indy is like going short on this. This is not really what I look for when I short, because it's like an initial reaction. It's not really confirmed that it's like going to be trending down. And let me just try to explain that on the chart. So basically what I'm looking for when I'm trying to like get into like an entry, when I'm trying to either short or long, is like it's like two sort of scenarios where it's either there is like a proper distribution setup. By the way, can you guys still hear me? Hello? Let me know if you can, and if you're paying attention to the stream. There's some questions. Will you be doing live streams regularly now? I'll be doing like MCF streams maybe every 2 days or every 3 days. Live streams I'm trying to do much more. Raynote asks, what's the best thing to do if you keep losing evaluation prop? I keep fumbling my accounts. That is what I'm gonna discuss in a few minutes after this market update. That's the main topic of this stream actually. Jasper asked, if bearish, where do you see the price going before bouncing back to the ETH? That's a pretty good question. And looking at the higher time frame, honestly, if I'm to make that sort of deduction, I either have to follow this set of rule for me, where it's like I have to look for the latest viable support, or I have to I have to look for a support that's like actually like higher time frame and much lower. Let me just like clear some of this data out. Clear some of my chart here. Basically, the supports that I'd be looking for a price to run back up to the ATH. This is all-time high right now, 124, 25k something. The supports I would be looking for would be the viable support that's later on the price. This is the one right here. If you're really bullish, you would not want this price to break down. If it breaks down here, we're probably gonna be bouncing from 80k. That's my next level of support, honestly. Okay. Vitor said, can hear. Speak a bit slower though, I have a small brain. Do you guys have issues with me just like yapping very, very quick? If you do, I'll try to like speak a bit slower. Going back, so basically the support that I'd be looking for would either be based off of time disparity. There's actually another scenario to time disparity. Let me look it up in the alpha section right here. I've shared this like multiple times. Let's just hope it loads. Yeah, so this is the one. So either price reacts from a pretty extreme POI, or it like reacts from the closest POI to price, because this is like where orders are still open in the market. Maybe there's a lot of orders that open here. There's a lot of orders that open here. Maybe they're closed by here. Maybe they closed by here. Maybe they're completely closed by here. But this is a level where there's a lot of orders that opened and they're still not closed by the time price is like here. That's why it reacted off so quick. That is what basically time disparity is. The sooner the later the price, the sooner the reaction, because the more live market participants are in that POI. Otherwise, the other support that's gonna work is gonna be an extreme POI. That's a pivotal level, which led to a complete shift in trend, and that would be likely this level, because this was a pretty big higher time frame downtrend from here. And this is the level, this is the low that like literally changed the course of direction all the way back to all-time high. So this is the extreme POI for me. Either we got a bounce from here all the way back to like ATH and shit, or the other POI that I'm looking for a bounce back to ATH would be around here. All of this is just noise. You don't need to focus on any of this unless and until there's like price comes here and it starts to form a range and range and range, and then you see like actual momentum kick in. That's the only scenario. So these are the only three scenarios that you would want to be looking for if you want a trade with a TP to the all-time high. Honestly, it's either you hope like it does not break down here, or you hope that you get a pretty good entry here. And I'm pretty sure like when price comes around here, everybody's gonna be bearish as fuck. Nobody's like bearish around these levels. When we break down here, they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna bounce from here, we're not gonna bounce from here. They're gonna be like, we're gonna bounce from here, we are not gonna bounce from here. Then they're just gonna tell you that we're gonna bounce from these levels and these levels. And eventually when it comes to like an extreme POI, sorry, and eventually when it comes to like an extreme POI, they're gonna be very bearish, and they're gonna be like, price is gonna break down much lower. And that's not really the case. We're gonna reverse it on their ass just from here. And that's how like most of the time, like I think it's a sort of like equation where this is like what people's expectation is to price. This is what price does, and this is what expectation is for people about the price, and this is what price does. I forgot what the name for this diagram was, but this is like what happens. Price becomes bearish, people expect much lower, it reverses. Price is still bullish, people are expecting much higher, it probably reverses. That's really how it goes in price. I see some questions pop in on the chat. Let me just see. Often do you look at higher time frame during a trade? I barely look at the higher time frame during a trade. I'm just trying to explain what's going on with the price at the moment. The last time I looked at higher time frame was, I don't know, like months ago. And I'm just trying to explain what's like going on with the price on this specific pair to like get a better idea of what's going on, honestly. Somebody asked like 105k seems logical if bull market is intact. 105k would be, I don't know, I think it's like a middle point. This is like something you gotta ignore, because I think I just explained, this is like just liquidities. The moment we break this low, we're gonna go all the way down to like 101k, something not like that. And now that we have like an understanding of like proper higher time frame, we're gonna go back to the lower time frame and discuss a bit on the execute like entry setups and triggers that I'd be looking for entries. For now, I'm gonna look at like the chat, what guys at the chat are doing. Everybody was in a long on BTC for like days, but right now I see some shorts, but I don't see any sort of like triggers To entry, I do see some sort of flow that's going on here. Yeah, I was talking about like indies short right here, and the reason I wouldn't like take a short just so early would be because let me just explain it to you. So basically, like Indy took a short here. I think he took a short based off of this like this liquidity that got taken here. He would then just like go short around here with the stop here, and knowing that if it rejects from here, it's not gonna stop here, it's gonna stop all the way down to like 102k, right? So that's the short then Indy Jang probably took, but the development of the trade did not go as planned, and we came into an imbalance here. We did not break down through imbalance. We pretty much held it, and we are now like trending higher. I'm in a long from around here as well, since everybody and their mother was longing BTC around here, which was like pretty good trade. Eventually it like worked up, and I'm just like holding on to the longs. And what I'd be looking for if I'm like trying to trade like short right here would be if we break down and I think it's going pretty solid, pretty good right now. And yeah, the way this is like reacting off price right now, let me just like go a bit on the bigger time frames. And the way it's like just going on right now, it's there's only two scenarios to this like sort of reaction to price. Either like this price rejects off real quick, it like what about the session? I think New York session is pretty much starting. That's a reaction that you're seeing, which is not like happening. If you see this like sweep or a breakdown here, is when I would be interested in taking a short. For now, I have like no interest in short. I'm just holding the trade from around here. There's a long that I'm holding from around here, and the long setup looks something like this. Stops around here, and my TP was supposed to be like above on the extreme POI that I discussed with you guys. It should be around here. And so far I'm just letting the trade develop, and just watching it. I am still open to the idea if like there's a rejection here and we get like a proper breakdown of price here, but that's not the scenario that is likely going to happen at the moment. Otherwise, I'm gonna be looking for like a rejection of a price after all of these highs are taken. Basically, this is the sort of price section that is like and it's like called like liquidity highs or something in multiple price section terms. This is sort of like price section that I'm looking for to get like taken out. Then there's the POI that's like sitting above here, which if I just mark it out, there's like an order block, there's some FEG right here, so the POI should be like around somewhere here, and this is the level that I'd be interested in if I'm trying to like take a short around here. And I think this is also the higher time frame value area. Let me just like zoom it out for you guys, which I've deleted here. But if I mark out the range from this level to this level before the breakdown, the value area is supposed to be somewhere here. And basically what I would be looking for is like a sweep of these very illiquid slow grindish highs right here. The rejection either gotta be here, or the rejection either has to be around here. These are the only two short setups that I am looking for or interested in price at the moment. Otherwise, I'm just gonna hold this long because it was a pretty good long. There's quite a lot of liquidity trapped down here, which could provide momentum. And yeah, that's what I'm looking for current price section. And wait, there's some questions. When is the session gonna start, mate? The session is like New York session is like 6 something around my time. I think it's like going on. And what's the next question? Are you just looking at the PA at the moment, or all of this back up with order flow? All of this is back up with order flow, but if I try to explain order flow, it's gonna take quite a lot of time. And interested to hear about your live drama, bro. I am interested to share as well, but I'm gonna share it in a few minutes. Just looking at price here, we might cook up a trade in a few minutes actually. If it's like going pretty well, we might just get a trade. So yeah, I'm gonna be looking at that. The by the way, the entry models that I'd be looking to before I would want to like enter a short would be if I'd like see high made, like let's say this is the high, and it then rejects off, and there's like either a sweep of that high, we like get to sweep that high, and then we get like maybe we do hold the low as well, and people consider it to be like an uptrend. But if you get to hold the highs as well, this is like microstructure understanding. If you want to like really get into the depth of it, you have to understand a bit order flow as well. uh Ray asked, should I just wait for more PA to develop? If you're not in any sort of trades, you just wait for the PA to develop, honestly. Mentorship sessions are gonna start this week for sure. If you're not in a trade at the moment, if you've missed a long here, if you missed a long here, just let the price develop, because I don't understand what sort of trade you're gonna trade. If you take a long here, it's based off of like that. Hopefully it does not reject off of here. And if you take a short here, that's gonna be like very early without no sort of like proper confirmation. You can just gamble on it, but I don't recommend that, honestly. And what I would be honestly looking for or interested in is I let some sort of PA develop, where what I would be honestly looking for is a bunch of high holds. There's high, then there's a lower high, based on the condition that we are in a overall downtrend. So those highs holding would support our bias, and eventually that would support a lot of liquidity to be trapped and faded in those highs, which upon breakdown you can just like take a short either on that like third high hold or the breakdown, and then just hold it all the way down to long PY. Or what you can look for is like let me just give it to you, is that you see price go up, like it's going up right now, and you see that price comes down, and then eventually it just like breaks down, gives you a break structure. And that's basically what you want to be looking for. Either on a break structure, you want to be looking for like a proper grindish selly structure right around here, and then take the short. Or you would want to be looking for some stalling in PA, but still obviously trending down, where there's this is like a curvature of a PA, which is very obvious when you're really noticing it, and then eventually it turns out to be a trade. New Basque, which levels do you consider most important to pay attention from order flow perspective? Example, POCs, stacked imbalances, open interest, profile traps. The most important levels that I'd be interested whenever I'm trading like order flow levels, I think it would be like NPOC. NPOCs are pretty strong. So either it's an NPOC, but you never wanna like trade that NPOC alone as well. You want to look for like some sort of bid or ask imbalance around that NPOC, like bid or ask imbalance. That means like there's which is an order flow term. That would mean there's a lot of cells sitting specifically at that specific level with an overlapping of an NPOC, and it's likely that price comes there and then just boom rejects off of there without any sort of confirmation. You can take that trade. So that's what like the edge of order flow and looking right into candles does for you. Who asked, what tools are you using when it comes to track order flow? Any preferences both for makers and taker side? Tracking order flow. What tools am I using? I'm using like exit chart specifically, and you would have like a DOM, like a depth of market, and the DOM on like DOM is like DOM. So DOM is on order flow. Exit charts is pretty good. So if you like have a template, which you can take from me, I have a pretty good template. You can just like use that template, and preferably I'd be looking at like market orders, like spamming of orders, or T-vaporized orders. That's it. Noob asks, what do you want to see trapped buyers instead of like sellers at that short PY? That's the gist of it, and how that would execute is like people buy into this level, people keep buying into this level, there's a huge influx of buys, and let's just say there's a guy who's like this is like a level that's like 100k, let's just assume this is 100k, and this is like a level that's like 90k, right? So people are buying like 91k, 92k, 93k, 94, 5, 6, 7, and it comes to the point of 99k, but like nobody is like buying another 100 BTC at 99k, and immediately there's a stall in price, and that stall in price can be caught by sellers, and they immediately, some seller like just spams the sell, and those guys who bought like 94k, 5k, they're all basically underwater. This is an example. And that sort of like buyer momentum that was in those highs, knowing that price is like a bit down now, is what like we use as fade, and then eventually that works out some more momentum to sell, and everybody who bought like around this level is pretty much underwater. And for them to like get out, there's two options. They can either hold the trade until their liquidation, or they can just get out break even. And if you want to get rid of a buy, you have to sell it back to the market, and that just like has another like confluence to your trade, that them closing break even or them getting liquidated adds to a chain reaction for price going much lower, right? That's how like mainly fades work. And that's basically what happened just right around here, but this is still not any sort of confirmation that it's going to go all the way down. What I'd be interested into like taking a short would be like if we start to form a very nice PA, which if you want to really scalp it out, you can look at the lower time frame, such as like 15-second or 5-second, but most people cannot really execute on that lower time frame because they are not fast enough, or they don't know how to like execute properly. So I'm not providing you guys with the trade on that lower time frame. So I just hope like there's a proper trade that develops on the 1 minute, the 5 minutes, and then we could just like take something like that. Basically, that's the update on the market, and I think I'll just look at the price in case some sort of trade develops, and just take a look at this as well. And there was a question before. Let me just look at the chat. There was a question before on what about my like IRL problems that I'm facing. Interested to hear about your live drama, bro. I'll explain that in a minute. But before that, there was another question. That was like, what's the best thing to do if you keep losing evaluation prop? I keep fumbling my accounts. Gray Notes asked. And yeah, I was about to ask that. That's a pretty good question. Like most people, when they're starting out, they don't have a proper strategy. They don't have a strategy at all. And let's just say you are just getting into trading. Let's just say this is a time interval, and this is your progress into trading. And most of the time, the progress is very choppy. I would say it's not really an incline or a gradual. It's more like this, like a choppy market. Most of the time, you're learning new things. You're getting above break even, then you're going down. But what the mistake most people do is that they don't have a proper strategy, nor are they learning from the right people. And let's just say if I was to like just get into trading, I have like 1 year into the trading field, I still don't know much, I'm not profitable. What I would do is like I would reach out to people that are profitable. I would start asking them questions. I would start asking them about their strategy. Let's just say some guy approached me and asked me about my strategy. I'll explain it to them. I use like price action, I use like order flow, I use like AMT, auction market theory as well. And the influx and the combination of all of that is what really makes me the guy who I am. Just understanding price and trading on my own terms. Looking at price, it's not doing anything at the moment. And how I would like start risking my money on props would be if you have a portfolio that's below 10k, I don't really recommend you going all in on accounts. Like let's say if I have only like 10k, which most people don't have, which most people that are starting trading don't have. I would assume that most people that are starting trading would have like 1k. And if you're just starting off of 1k, I don't recommend you getting like a 500k or 100 sorry, like a 200k or 100k account. What I recommend you doing is like get yourself like a 10k account. You can get yourself like a 10k account for like $100. And if you use like ShiniCore 30 for 30% off at the moment, you're gonna like during the stream, you can get it for a bit cheaper, 70, 60 even maybe. Then just and there's like MCF has come up with like daily payouts as well. So I recommend you like stack yourself up with an account or a few. and then just like hold them on, right? You don't have to like buy the account and then just immediately trade on it. What the step-by-step thing that you gotta do is like you hold on the account. Let's say about I have a portfolio of like 1K. I buy an account of like 10K. Maybe I buy like 2 of these accounts if that's all the money that I have for trading. Uh, what people mostly do when they're getting into trading is like they're telling me about all the money they have. They don't do jobs, they're unemployed, they don't have like any sort of backup. So what I tell them is like you buy like just one account or 2 account, and you keep the rest of the money for yourself in case you have expenses, you have rent, you have groceries to pay for. Just keep the rest of the money for all of that, because you're not gonna make like life-changing gains in just like a month, unless and until you happen to be one of the luckiest people on earth and you just all in on a trade and it just turns out. But that's just coping, right? So what you do basically is get yourself an account or 2, unless this is all the money you are willing to risk and you're enough, you're set enough to be like able to pay for your rent, groceries, have a job, have some income besides trading. Then I recommend you just stack up accounts, prop accounts initially through that 1K. And what I want you to do is like, if it was me and I had just 1K and I had a proper income stream, what I'm gonna do is like, I'm gonna stack like 2 10K accounts. I'm gonna stack like 1 25K account, or probably like 2 25K account. And I'm gonna stack all of these, maybe 3 10K accounts, 2 25K accounts. And then I'm just gonna hold on to them, honestly. And what I'm gonna do is like, I'm gonna paper trade. And paper trading could mean like you put a trade on Telegram here. Sorry, like trading view here. There's an option to be able to like paper trade right here. It should be like somewhere around here. You can paper trade from here. You just click on to here. You can paper trade and then you start putting on trades. Oh, there's some development to PA. And what this could do is like breakdown here, rejection here, and could lead to a move down here. Right. So what you could do is like start to paper trade, and after paper trading, you're gonna realize what most people don't realize is when they're taking trades, they have no idea what they're doing wrong, and that's probably the reason why you keep losing money, Grano. You have like you're taking trades, but you're not noticing the pattern that you're taking the trades in. And I'm gonna explain you a pattern that's like very noticeable in people's trades. And whenever somebody comes to me and they say they're unprofitable, what I tell them is just show me the last 10 or 20 of your trades, and then I'm gonna make a deduction of what the fuck you were doing wrong. And what's the most common like deduction is that they keep trying to fade momentum, they keep trying to fade the market in hopes of being accurate, in hopes of being right against the market. I guess that's something that I used to do. It's sort of I would honestly not say it's an ego stuff, but it's somewhat related to the ego and the consciousness of being right. And they would just like fade the market, keep like fading the market. Let's say this is an uptrend. I know everybody in the market knows it's an uptrend. They're gonna be like, oh no, I'm gonna be right, I'm gonna take a short, I'm gonna be right against everybody, and then everybody's gonna know this is me and that. Or I'm gonna make money against everybody. And this is like pretty evil, but like it's sort of a consciousness of a human being, right? But like this is the most common mistake that people make most of the time. And the other mistake that people do is like their entry and exit, like their stops not being accurate. Maybe their stops are something like this. Let's say their stops are something there's no good example here. Maybe somebody like tried to short here, but they put like their stop around here. They get stopped out, it went down to their TP. Mostly these are the problems that people face a lot of the time. It's either a bad stop, or it's either people trying to fade a trend, or it's just bad management of the trade. What most people are doing again as well, it's like, let's say you took a trade here and your TP was supposed to be like around here, and price comes almost close to your TP, but it like front runs it, and then you decide, okay, you have an understanding that it's going to reverse in your against your direction. What you do is like you just hold on to the trade without like guilt, and you just like hold it on back to stop loss. So just mismanagement of trade, or a bad stop loss, or fading the market is what usually people have in common in trading. And even if you like come up to me and tell me like I'm profitable and show me your last trades, you would likely have one of these mistakes occurring in every single one of your setups, and you do not notice it by yourself, which is why like there's people mentors or people that are trying to explain you stuff which you don't have to like buy into. You can work this on your own. You can ask around. You can like all there's always free forums. You can ask around what's going on with your trades, and then just like understand what you could do better for your trades. And what I recommend is like honestly just understanding your own L's, just taking a look at your own stop losses. And when you take a look at those like trades, let me just see there if there's an example. I did a trade review in a prior session of mine, and I could explain to you what went wrong with my guy here. I think this is Wishcon, and there's another trade setups from my friend, which I this is a pretty good example. I've discussed this before in another stream of mine. And this sort of example was like this guy took a this is a friend of mine, and he took like a long here, and then he got his stops here. He took like a short here, and I think he got stopped out as well. He got stopped out on this short as well, because this was a long PUI. And another thing that people do, so these are like the 3 or 4 things that are very common amongst traders when they keep losing money. And that is just like when people are looking at the chart and they like take a trade, they end up in an L, they don't realize what they're basically doing wrong, then they take a trade in the opposite direction, or they take the same trade in hopes of being right, then they take another long another trade, and then eventually they end up in a losing streak. Is something that happens very, very frequently. It would happen to you even if you're profitable. The consciousness of being right is gonna stick with you for a very long time, unless and until you just remove yourself off of bias, then you're gonna be very profitable. And what happened around here was like this guy expected the price to like go up from here, because on the lower time frame you can see there's like lows holding, and there's like a high that's about to break, but it did not break, so he took the long right here, and then eventually end up in a stop, because this price action right here was like a higher time frame downtrend. So it like was prices coming down all the way around from here, and this was a high that got taken into. And if you really notice into it, there's like this high holding, there's no break of structure, bullish break of structure, no sort of bullish break of structure. And that would recommend to you that price is pretty much like continuing the downtrend, even though the internal price section, which is the lower time frame price section, it was pretty much like going forward and onwards, but higher time frame wise. And this is the difference between like internal structure and like external structure. Oh, this is like good. This is going good. If you take a if this is very lower time frame, I don't want people to gamble, but like if you take a trade something like this and it's like later on, it's gonna go all the way to TP. And what I was trying to explain to unless it's the condition is like it breaks this high, then you take a trade somewhere here on the break of high, put your stops on the lower high here, and then just let it develop all the way here. If it breaks the high, which is still developing, this is still development to me. What I was trying to explain about like internal and external price action was that external price action is more likely related to the higher time frame price action, which would look something like this. But let's just say internal price action is like the swing low and swing high, and whatever happened between that swing low and swing high is considered to be like internal price action. So let's say this was a swing low, and price like started to like come up here and then start to trend all the way down here. This would be like internal downtrend, internal uptrend. Knowing that we are externally in an uptrend, it's likely that uptrends are more favored, buys are more favored. So if you see any sort of buys here, just follow the market, and that's how like it's going to go. Maybe the price ended up like this. And what most people confuse themselves in is like difference between internal and external. Knowing that you're in a higher time frame uptrend, external uptrend, it's likely that price like breaks the prior high and goes much higher. So people just like some people in hopes of being right just focus on the internal part of the trend and keep fading the trend itself, and that eventually ends up in losing streak. Just understanding the difference between this sort of trend in microstructure is very important as well. And yeah, that's a sort of like thing that happens with people when they're like unprofitable. It's a very repetitive mistake, and this is the same sort of mistake that's not just based off of this example. There's a few more examples that were sent to me afterwards, and this is the same sort of mistake that happened all the way around. Like he took a short around here, and in hopes of being right, he took a he took a long around here. He took a short here. Some of these went pretty good. Some of these like, but the management also wasn't so good around here. There's quite a lot of like examples that you can get out when you're looking at somebody's trade. This is the trade setups of my guy Wish here, and there's some things that you will look at and they will be repetitive. Like the market is pretty much like trending higher here, and he's just fading the trend here, the first mistake that I talked about. And then this here is like bad stop placement. He's like placed or this could have been managed better if he had seen this high holding, and this grind down from price here. He could have like closed break even. Also just like bad stop placement. There's just like literally the FEG middle grounds. You never want to trade in the middle grounds, or if you are trading in the middle grounds, you would never want to place your stop loss on the middle grounds. You would either want to have your stop loss on the swing low or the swing high. Is how you want to always trade. So just like bad stop placement and management, like this here as well. This was like an internal low, which if he had put his stop right around this low, he would have been safe pretty much. And then it went to TP, which is like just bad stop placement, some management of trade, and then like fading the trend is likely your problem as well. So if you just like have somebody look over it or just post publicly, and it's keep posting publicly is something that helped me when I had no idea how to trade. I would just like keep posting. If you go like to my Twitter account like 3-4 years ago, you're gonna see like most of my trades were just shit. Like 4 years ago, most of my trades were just like they were not even like worthy of looking at. They were not even like proper trades like this. And I would just like keep posting publicly on my Twitter, and then just every post I was like, okay, I made this mistake, and I posted it publicly. What I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna like make another trade next time, but I'm gonna be like more responsible about my trades because I'm posting these trades publicly. So that sort of like sense of responsibility and understanding that you're journaling every step of yours is gonna help you by a lot. Some questions in the chat. Let's just look at the questions in the chat. Oh, this is going good. So if you just like take that sort of long setup and then put your TP, it's gonna work out. Some questions in the chat. Let me just go over them. Ray asked, when price enters an imbalance and wicks out of it stronger or weaken depending on how deep it goes in the balance. That's sort of like so what basically Ray is asking, like let's say this is an imbalance candle, right? And price like comes into the imbalance, and based off of the reaction, is it does it like mean that price is stronger or not? Yes, it does, because let's just say this is an imbalance and price like quickly recovers from it. That means there's a lot of liquidity and volume that's like supporting the price right around these levels, which is very important. So what it does is like the stronger the reaction, the stronger the follow-up is gonna be. And you never want to like trade solely on the reaction. You will always want to trade based off of the follow-up, because if there is no follow-up, what price could do is like price could like boom get a reaction and then it rejects right off. So that does nothing for you really. So you would want to focus more on the follow-up than you would want to focus more on the reaction, honestly. Next question. Also, can you show a good example of strong break structure versus a weak break structure? This is a good example of a strong break structure, and the trade that I talked to you about, you just like all in, you just like take a long here, or you just take a long on this breakout right here, put your TPs around here, and it's gonna work out in your favor. And that's basically what's going on, right? And looking at the price, did we break the high here? We are about to break the high, I guess. So this trade could like develop much further, all the way up to like 116 point something. So this is the sort of like momentum you want to look for whenever you're trying to trade. And this is like very lower time frame. Most of the time what I do is like I take a trade on the breakout, I put my stop something like this on the higher low, which is this higher low, low. And then what I do is the moment it gets like proper rejection, let's say it's rejecting off of here, I'm just gonna close the trade. Which is something that people don't have experience with. They're not good with it. And one more thing I want to add to this trade, if it starts like right up here, it could even just pop up all the way up around here. So you would want to like try to manage this trade if you're in this trade, which I think I explained a few minutes ago that you should be. Well, just like explaining how like lower time frame management works is like you take a trade on a, if you're, especially if it's a breakout trade, you observe the price very closely, and if there's sort of reaction or I feel like the momentum is weakening down, I'm just gonna close the trade real quick on base of like candle reactions. Otherwise, I let the trade develop, especially if it's like a very low time frame, like 15-second or even 5-second. But the reason I use this time frame is because it's just basically much more clear on this time frame what price is really doing. It's like you look at the 5-second and you look that there's like a pretty nice uptrend, which is like explainable, which is like understandable. There's like multiple break structures. There's like proper low holds. There's higher lows and higher lows, more break structure. But then you go to the 3 minutes and then you look at it and it's just one candle or two candle and you don't understand shit from it, right? That's why like the importance of microstructure is so important whenever you're taking a trade as a scalper. Grey Note asks, how many years for you to be profitable? I think it took like 1.5 year, almost like 2. Cause I had nobody to like guide me out of stuff, so I had to just like Google everything and put up articles, put up like random YouTube videos from just random sources. Honestly, that's how I like learned my ways of trading. And in a trade like this, when you enter the long setup here, you put your stops on the higher low. It could be the higher low, it could be the low, in case you want to be much more safer. Which is something like people have this like misunderstanding that if they put their stop loss a bit lower, they're gonna be safer. But that's not really true, because if I explain to you how that works, is let's just say I take my trade on this breakout right here. I put my stop loss right here and I put my TP somewhere around here or maybe even higher, because it's just developing. This trend is developing. I'm going to close this trade a bit manually, and then I'm just gonna put my stops break even and then let this trade develop. But I was gonna explain, like, since I know this is a higher low, this is a higher low, this is a higher low, if price is to really come down around this level, then it's not really bullish, is it? Knowing that it's in a lower high level, it could potentially just reverse everything from here. That's why what you would want to see is the least amount of the most amount of retrace that you would want to see is from this low, and you would want to see price go all the way up from here. So your stops are much better here than they are here, because if it rejects off of here and then it like goes and breaks this level, what's really stopping it from like breaking this level as well? Because knowing that there's a high that's like holding on the left side of the screen right here, that's why like people, you should like that's where it comes the viable support thing. The later the price, the sooner the reaction, and the more effective it is. And that's how you like basically trade. Ray asked, thank you so much, Shini. You are definitely one of the best. Thank you so much. One more question before I go sleep. How often do you study every day when learning, and did back testing help a lot in your journey? I never really back tested. I did more forward testing. And I think forward testing is much better because I would like post all my trades all the time. Even if it was like with $10, $20 back in the day, like 2 years ago, 4 years ago, I would like take a trade at least $10, $20, $100 to just like understand how like price executes and how like shit works, right? So forward testing is much better. Back testing is, you can be biased in back testing, honestly. Back testing is good if you know what you're doing, if you're very smart, because what I've seen from people who back test, they're very reliant on the tool, and they have this idea that they could know what's going on, but that's not really what happens. So forward testing is definitely a much better option and a choice for you if you're just trying to learn. And I took like, I think I was like studying basically all day, all the time, like 14, 20, 12 hours a day, because I was like a high school student, and I wouldn't go to school. I would just like go to school for exams. That's basically it about my school story. And I would just like study trading and just like play games all the time back in the day. And that's how I really learned trading, honestly. Um, are you guys still here? Can you guys still hear me? If you guys, if it's somebody I know, can you type it in the chat? Like, who's still here? Because I might like just give you some drama about my life. Everybody who's like currently watching, just type something in the chat so I know who's here. Oh yeah, and so on reactions like this, where you see like a strong reaction kick in on the lower time frame, it's not basically where I close the trade most of the time. It's upon like follow up of the trade that like this happens is where I just like close most of the trade. But this was a good trade. My initial TP was around here, and since this stream is gonna be uploaded, you can see the trade by rewinding it. What happened was like basically by the way, this is like still developing. This we just put in a lower high. We just put in a lower high right here, like pop up all the way here. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this sort of structure develop. Unless and until it just fucking rejects off of here. That's gonna be sad. That's just so I make it clear. Do you guys have any sort of like questions you want me to explain at the moment? Because this is like just like the volatility that we had in the New York Open. I think it's dried out a bit, so we could have like I would only be hoping for a move much higher if we are able to, you know, if you look at this like high right here, this is not really broken on the high, which is pretty retarded. You would want like a breakthrough to this high right here, and so what that would look like is like we would need a slow grind right above these highs, which I would hope that this specific FVG holds, and then it just runs all the way up. But you can just be risk-free on the trade, honestly. Yin paused. Is time disparity happening in the current PA? Of course it is. Like, look at this. Like, this is like current higher lows, more higher lows. Price just keeps bouncing from current higher lows, and higher lows. The moment one of these breaks, is the moment price is cooked, and we would see sort of a retrace, basically. Price disparity is like just understanding that the later the price, this is the before price, this is the later and the latter right here. So the latter the price, the more effective it basically is, just supporting the trend. And the other aspect of time disparity is if the price has like broken the ladder, then it's likely going to achieve support or rejection at the extreme POI. Let's say this is the low that led to the entire move up. So basically either it's the extreme POI or it's the current higher low of the structure. Next question. How old are you, Shini? I am 20. I'm 20 and I have my birthday in like 12 days, October 11th. So I'm gonna be like 21. Shini, if you have time, can you check queries? There's a problem I'm struggling with. I think I can check like queries. That would be something. Need help, Shini. I have a big problem with trade management. As you know, I mostly trade NQ. I do not have a problem with finding a setup and entry, but I do it on lower time frame with higher time frame confirmation. And I prefer go with like small invalidation as just increase the RR from a trade. It works good for me in the end, but in the end of the day, I missed most of the move regarding higher time frame point of view. Good example is a long from below the range of today, like this one here, and next one here. This was good POI and took long for like 5 hour, but still no, this probably go much higher. NQ was simply bullish today. I'm satisfied with the profit. But I see more than often that I am likely missing most of the obvious profit I can gain. Like I'm shit having confidence in trade regarding higher time frame trend. Would you really like okay, take partials, close the trade and look for a new one, or wait for a breakdown on lower time frame? This can really help me. Trade management on mostly NQ. Got it. I don't know. Right. Looking at the chart here. Just trying to understand the problem that's at hand. I first go with this small invalidation as this increase the RR from a trade. Yeah, so basically what you're saying is like you try to take smaller stop trades, so it increases the RR, but you get to see way more trades than like this. Maybe you see a trade here, maybe you see a trade here as well, but you just don't get the confirmation to be able to like take that trade and execute more, because you get to see way lot more trades, but you are not executing on them because you're not like having a proper confirmation of that. And what else is here? Based off of higher time frame. So you miss most of the move based off higher time frame. If you are getting like some decent moves on a lower time frame, you don't need to push yourself into getting way more moves. This chart doesn't really like explain much. If you can, Medic, if you can like give me last 10 or 20 of your trades, I could be able to like help you out way more, because this is all winning trades, right? And the stops are, this stops here is pretty cooked. Like I would never place a stop like around here. Maybe you put the stop on VWAP. That's not like a level that would indicate that there's a reversal in trend. Usually you would want to like place your stop loss. Oh, it's pretty long, is going pretty good. Nice. So you would usually want to like put your stops on a significant high or significant low, never in between, honestly, never in between a POI as well, or never on like an NPOC or a volumetric like POC or a VWAP, never on those levels. You want to put your stops lows always on a pivotal low or a pivotal high, or you would want to like yeah, that's basically it. This stop loss is pretty cooked, so is this stop loss. It should have been at the high here, because this trade right here, if you took the trade right around this entry, what was stopping this price from going just like to a few cents or dollars above, and it's just like nuking after taking your stops? What really was stopping it was this high, so this high would have never gotten taken. So if you had just moved your stops a bit to the significant high, that would have helped you a bit more. Even right here, so basically your stops are tight, but they need some improvement in my opinion. But if I could get to see more of your trades, like per trade what you took on the lower time frame, I'm not sure what time frame this is, honestly. It's just 12. So if you have like a set of data of more trades, that way I'll be able to deduct like a much better data and understanding of what really is going on around here. I think that would be better. What's the Ray asked, what is your TP on along? If you can send more, that'd be very cool. Then I'll discuss it in a mentorship session with you. What's my TP on the long? Basically, since I was saying that if it goes higher, it's gonna go much higher. So what you could do is, if you have not TP'd partials, and you can like TP some partials around here, which it's going pretty good, but move your stops to this higher low right here, okay, and close more partials around here, and then just like extend your TP all the way up to like 116, something around that. Yeah, and just close your eyes. Honestly, that's basically how you micromanage a trade. Unless and until this starts to fucking just shit around here, and then you're like, oh, this is not what I expected. Then you can like close the trade. Reynaud asked, when do you use market limit and chase order? I use like limit chase most of the time, and I use like market orders when limit chase isn't working, because the problem with like limit chase order is that you can like, let's just say this is a move, right? This is like going boom, it's going all the way up, and I would expect like price to go boom like another all the way up. If I limit chase, my limit, of course the limit gets keep chasing, but it just never gives me the chance to be able to like hop on a trend like this. So I just like mark it in on scenarios where I'm like, there's gonna be a big bang of move right in an instant, in a few minutes. So I just like that. Only in those scenarios I like market. Otherwise it's always like a market chase. Oh, sorry, a limit chase. Are you risking the exact same percentage? I am risking the exact same percentage, because if you're risking a bit lower and higher, it could skew your Kelly, it could skew your risk management as well. Especially if you're trading a prop firm account, I'd recommend you like um go with dynamic risk. You go with more static risk, because then you know how much are you losing, how really is your system working. If you have a proper system that's working, only then I recommend you go with like dynamic risk. And dynamic risk is like, maybe I risk like 1 hour on this setup. Maybe if I try to like take another long around here, maybe I risk like 0.5 hour. So just changes in risk is dynamic risk, which I don't really recommend if you're like trading on prop firms. So just like keep it to Sterling said is 2% okay. No, it's a bit too much. I think you should go with like, start with like 0.5% if you're still new to like your own strategy or whatever you're working with. If you have like a proper strategy, you're profitable as fuck, then you can go with like 1 or 1.5%, but try to not go for dynamic risk at the moment. Are you using or you essential or use grading system for dynamic risk? That's something like people who know about my system do. I think I don't tell that to people who don't know much about my system. If you know about my like grading system, then I recommend you go for like dynamic risk, honestly. Because then I would hope that you know what you're doing. Michi asked, do you use XCharts right now on other screen? I'm using XCharts on my other screen. I have like 2 screens at the moment. I have like my exchange where I took the trade on my other screen. I have my XCharts on the other screen. If I open up XCharts, like there's gonna be a lot of like confusion for most people. I'm just trying to explain how like you can get a profitable trade just looking at the PA there, and barely any indicators. I have zero indicators. I have zero drawings on my chart. I look at the chart and I'm like, boom, it's going to go up. You take a trade. That's it. So you have to have this sort of understanding of like microstructure to be very good at what you're doing, right? And if you have this sort of understanding of price and just, it's not even feeling. I've managed to explain every single step of how price could react. And when it reacts off of a certain way, I take the trade. That's basically how a system, a strategy works on price action alone. And Sterling asked, because I'm on a 5K account, so it's 0.5, it's so low. But you are still risking like 0.5% of the account. The don't go too much on the figures. You should understand more and follow more like percentile movements of your risk and your profit. That way you would be more profitable, because most people, they make a mistake in like giving more importance to figures than they give more importance to percentile performance. That way they're like affected by dollar values, and it's like a mental thing. Obviously like dollar value is like gonna affect you because you interact with like money all the time in your life. It could affect you in any how way, so you would want to like focus more on percentile performance of your accounts. That way you would be able to perform better without having an influence on yourself regarding money. Mystery trader, what's your volume profile saying to find accurate value area high and value area low? I've shared this quite a lot of times, but I can share this again. Let me just like open this right here. This is the style. You can just take a screenshot of this. And this is like input. You can just like number of rows. You go for number of rows, total, and then value is like 68%. Row size 1,000. Just take a screenshot of this as well. Sterling asked, do you still ride your S1000 RR? Yes, I do. I just took a ride yesterday, last night. I'll talk you. When you have access in the hole, why you don't risk 5%? I did not understand your question. When you have access to in the hole, what is that supposed to mean? Which hole are we talking about? This is going pretty well for now. This is going pretty well. Very nice trade. I think this is going to go like all the way up to TP, more up. I don't want you people to be like risking too much money on this. So but what usually I do, I see this sort of like uptrend, then I take another trade, TP here, then let the trade develop. It is something that I'm not gonna do because this is like 15-second, very lower time frame, and people are gonna like lose money just based off their execution, honestly. So, but this is a pretty nice trade that we got to like end up with. Does anybody have any questions so far? Oh, by the way, if you want to stack up the accounts, the stream is sponsored by MCF. You can like get 30% off for like Shinigami 30 while the stream is going on, and then you can like get yourself like a daily account, daily payouts account, which again something you can stack up and then just like trade on it a bit later. Even I bought like myself 2 accounts. I don't know why. Maybe I give it to my brother. If I start trading, how much time should I devote to the demo account? That depends on your progression on learning. Maybe you like maybe you're able to understand and get to a point of a profitable strat in like a month. Maybe you get to that understanding in a year based on demo accounts, but I don't want you to like spend more time on demo accounts, honestly. I want you to be spending more time on risking barely any money, maybe $5 or $10. Just understanding trades, taking trades is something you would want to be going for. Forward testing, basically. Do not use dynamic risk on prop accounts. That's gonna like, if you don't, because I assume people who have like a prop account are not like very profitable just yet. Maybe you are profitable. If you're profitable, you have had multiple payouts, then you could go for dynamic risk. But if you're just starting out, I don't recommend you go out for like dynamic risk. Shinigami 30 for 30% off and daily payout, yes. So far. That's good to hear, Yui. RVS, do you focus more on spot futures or long-term hold? I focus basically on 2 things: perpetual gambling and long-term holds on majors. Daily payouts on MCF still, yes, I think so. Does anybody have any sort of questions at the moment? Because so far I'm pretty happy with the trade we end up with, and I'm just like happy to look at it, and yeah, I'm gonna let this develop. What are the majors, if you mind to share a bit? The majors that I'm like holding right now: BTC, Ethereum, some Sol, some like Hype. I'm trying to stream every day, yes. What is your advice for risk for a newbie? I think you should go for like 0.5% on risk. But if you don't understand when to put your entry, when to put your stop loss, when to get out of the trade, break even, when to like TP the trade or when to hold on the trade, if you don't have a system, then giving you advice on risk would be not so well. So just have a proper system. But the risk that I recommend would be like start with 0.5%. You asked, do you think Ethereum's gonna go up to like 5K? I would hope, because this is a pretty good POI that Ethereum's in. But if Ethereum's likely going to go all-time high, basically between the BTC and the Ethereum pair, only one of these is going to go to the AT edge. at the moment, based off of the current PA. If it's Ethereum, I would be very happy with it. Ethereum can go and just like take another high. But then what BTC is gonna do is gonna go all the way up and it's gonna stall here and then reject off of here like this. If BTC doesn't stall here, it's gonna go to the ATH. What you're gonna see on Ethereum is that it's gonna stall in middle somewhere here, and it's gonna put in a lower high and then reject. So basically, a sort of a deviation where one takes the ATH and one does not. A divergence, sort of. Do you think trading only price action alone can be profitable? Yes, and a lot of my friends do it. I do it as well sometimes. What are your thoughts on Astra? Astra, XPO are pretty good. The type of coins that you want to be like trading most of the time are the ones that people are most vocal about. Like people, the coins that people are talking about the most. That's like on the mind of everybody. Those are the type of coins that you want to be trading all the time. If you don't see much action on BTC or Ethereum, just trade like coins like Astra, XPO that everybody's talking about on Twitter, on like all forums, and it's the coins that have the most sort of volume and Bybit or these exchanges. Is how you want to be executing and rotating within altcoins. Maybe like Astra and XPO like have their own run up and volatile for like another week or two, and then there's gonna be another coin or two that pops up after like a week or two. This is basically how rotation of money goes on in the markets. The moderator on Discord said discount code is no longer available. The discount code is actually just available for this specific stream only. It's like, I think it's mentioned on my screen. And yeah, what I'm just looking at the questions here, and MDFX. Hey, how are you doing, MD? RBS, what common mistakes do you see beginners make most often? Not having a proper strategy, honestly. Like if you're not putting time into your learning, that's the biggest mistake you're gonna make. Who else? Just curious, do you even use any kind of like tool to look for pivotal levels, VWAPs, RUMH, rolling, etc. Pivotal levels I've explained on VWAPs multiple times. You either look for like a proper swing low or swing high, or you look for like a date, like look at this date, the 1st of August, or like the first start of the week, start of the month. That's how you mark out VWAP. Anything else, I don't really mark it out anymore. So if I buy now 5k MCF with code, I have daily payouts. I think so, yeah. I'm holding some spot ETH. I wanna sell at like 67k. Do you think that's realistic this cycle or no? This is the question, right? So I'm pretty sure Ethereum is gonna reach like 10k, but it depends on your entry basically. What really is your entry? Like, if your entry is around here, then I recommend you take profits around here, 5k something, right? If your entry is around here, then I recommend you just like hold on to Ethereum. Or if your entry is around here, I recommend you do not sell Ethereum at all. This is the bottom, right? But if your entry is like all the way up here, all the way up here, then you're pretty much cooked, and you could expect like a retrace even lower from your entry. Maybe not now, maybe not like a month or two later, but likely before it reaches like 7 or 8k. There's a lot of development that could happen in price before it reaches those sort of certain levels. If you're in from like 2k is around here, or you're in from like 2.7k, you have no need to be selling Ethereum, honestly. You could take profit or expenses out of it, but like if you have enough saved up in your other accounts, I recommend you just do not touch Ethereum. I have Ethereum as well, and I am hoping to pass it on to the next generation, because that's it's gonna take a lot of time, but it's gonna be at like 10k eventually at some point. Momentum, non-momentum. Yeah, I'm looking at it, and it just like dried out. It's like somebody sucked the volume out of it, and now it's like looking not so great. So you can like TP more partials out of it, I guess. It's gonna go to another lower high, then like develop more. But it's like just it's just like not moving above this high here, which could be bad. It could be an SFE, which I don't really want. I want a short from around here. So I would hope like it gets a pretty decent retrace from this level, and then it like pops up. But hoping is like coping, so I'm just gonna like TP partials around here and then like just run it out. Last question. How do you confirm a true breakout versus a fake out around support and resistance level? There's quite a lot of like thinking that goes into that. Like, I think it'd be better if I explain it through order flow, maybe in the next stream. It would be like much easier to understand. Yeah. So you won't oil up? No, I won't. Well, I guess there's no more questions, so I think we can like end the stream around here. It's been like almost 2 hours now. If you guys have any sort of like questions or anything, you can like you can also like post it in the communities tab here. So if you go to like my account, what? So like look up my account or Shinigami account. There's like this community thing. You can like just click on the community, and you like scroll down. You can make a post. You join the community, make a post, and we're gonna reply to you here. I have yet to reply to some people. I have yet to reply to a lot of DMs, but I'm gonna get back to you today, tomorrow, for sure. So, well, thank you guys for joining. Well, see you guys later some other time. And thanks MCF for sponsoring this stream and the discount code that we have. Make sure to use it. And then, yep, see you guys later. Goodbye. Thank you for joining.